The morning Owen Barlowe counted the coins in his truck's cup holder, he already knew it wasn't going to be enough. 43 cents. A flattened Tim Hortons receipt. A single poker chip from a casino he hadn't been to in 4 years, back when there was still something to celebrate. Outside, the October rain was coming down hard on Kamloops. That particular Pacific Northwest kind of rain that doesn't announce itself. It just arrives and stays, soaking through everything, making the world feel like it's been wrung out and left to drip. Owen sat in the driveway of the house he no longer owned, technically, with the engine running because his daughter was asleep in the back seat, and he hadn't figured out yet how to tell her they couldn't afford to heat the apartment that night. Ruby was 7. She had her mother's red hair and her grandfather's stubborn jaw, and she had been wearing the same pair of sneakers since April because Owen kept saying next week, next week, next week. He had $31.20 in his checking account. He knew this without checking, because he had checked 17 times since waking up. And 20 cents, a Tuesday in October, and a daughter who believed with her whole heart that her dad had everything under control. Some days that belief felt like a lifeline. Some days it felt like a verdict. It had been 14 months since Carla left. Not left them. She hadn't left Ruby. She made sure Owen understood that clearly, through her lawyer. But she had left Owen, left the marriage that had been quietly dying for years, left Kamloops entirely and taken a job in Calgary because there was nothing left here worth staying for. That was the word she used. Nothing. Owen had turned it over in his mind so many times it had worn smooth, like sea glass, and lost most of its ability to cut. He wasn't angry anymore. That had been the first 6 months. The anger was clean and easy. What came after was harder to name. A kind of gray exhaustion that settled into the bones of everyday living. Getting up. Making lunches. Dropping Ruby at school. Driving the work van for a company that cleaned commercial HVAC units, which paid just enough to confirm that it didn't pay enough. The child support helped, when it came. Sometimes it was late. Owen pulled out his phone and opened the grocery app not because he expected a miracle, but because he needed to see the numbers to believe them. $42 of groceries in his cart. Chigs. A bag of apples, bread, a small block of old cheddar because Ruby refused to eat 10 sandwiches without it. Chicken thighs, the cheapest cut. And 1 box of those maple cookies with the sugar crystals on top, the kind Ruby had spotted last week and pointed at with the quiet, practiced restraint of a child who has learned not to ask for things she knows aren't in the budget. She hadn't asked. She had just pointed, briefly, and then moved her hand away. Owen had seen it. He always saw it. He just couldn't do anything about it last week and the week before that, and the week before that. He deleted the cookies from the cart. Then he sat looking at the empty space where they had been. He added them back. He deleted them again. He put his phone away. Daddy, Ruby's voice came from the back seat, soft and blurred with sleep. Are we going? Yeah, baby. We're going. The superstore on Notre Dame Drive was busy the way Tuesday evenings always were. Not weekend buzzy but full enough that you had to wait at the deli and the self-checkouts had a line. Owen got a cart with a wobbly wheel and steered it with the particular muscle memory of someone who has done this exact trip 100 times on the same thin margin. He moved through the store the way people do when every item is a calculation. He picked up things and put them back. He chose the store brand every time without reading the label. Ruby walked beside him with her hands clasped behind her back, which was something she did when she was trying very hard to be good. Owen recognized it. It made his chest hurt. They made it through produce, through the meat aisle, through bread. Owen was steering toward the checkout when Ruby stopped in front of the baking aisle. She wasn't looking at anything in particular, but Owen followed her gaze and found it anyway. A box of maple leaf cookies, the soft ones, in a yellow box with a red maple leaf on the front. $1.99. We should probably get going, Owen said, not unkindly. Ruby looked up at him. She didn't say anything. She just nodded, in that small careful way she had, and fell back into step beside him. He made himself not look back at the shelf. At the checkout, Owen placed everything on the belt methodically. He had counted in his head twice. He believed, close. He watched the screen as each item beeped through, doing the running math. The cashier, a teenager named Dev, according to his name tag, who looked like he would rather be anywhere else, moved without urgency. Eggs, bread, apples, cheddar, chicken thighs, 2 packages, butter, pasta, a can of tomatoes. The total appeared, $38.74. Owen looked at, he had $31.20. He'd miscalculated somewhere. He stood there doing the math again in his head, as though running it faster would change the outcome. It didn't. Can you, he said, and his voice came out quieter than he intended. He cleared his throat. Can you take off one of the chicken packages? Dev took it off without any change in expression. The new total $33.91. Still not enough, and the butter, Owen said, 31.86 cents. Owen exhaled, 66 cents over. He looked at the items remaining on the belt. He needed the eggs. He needed the bread. He didn't know what to give up. The pasta. He could do without pasta. Take off the pasta, he said. He tapped his card before he could talk himself in or out of anything. Approved. He exhaled. He was putting the bags into the cart when Ruby reached up and tugged his sleeve. She was holding the box of maple cookies. She must have picked them up somewhere along the way. Tucked them under her arm, and he hadn't noticed. I thought maybe, she started. And then she stopped, reading his face, and put the cookies down on the small ledge at the end of the checkout belt. Never mind. It's okay. It was the way she said it. Not disappointed, just matter of fact, like a 7-year-old who had already accepted the shape of things. That got him. Owen turned away and pretended to adjust the bags in the cart. His eyes were stinging, and he was not going to cry in the superstore on a Tuesday. Hey! A voice came from behind him. Calm, male. Unhurried, Owen turned. There was a man standing a few feet back waiting his turn in the lane. Somewhere in his mid-50s, Owen guessed, with a gray flannel jacket and the kind of quiet, settled face that didn't belong to someone trying to impress anyone. He was holding a basket with maybe 6 items in it. He was looking at the cookies, the maple ones, the man said. Those are good. He said it to Ruby, not to Owen. Ruby looked at him carefully. I know, she said. I had them at my friend Zara's birthday. Me too, he said. They put them out at every meeting I've ever been to. I've eaten about 4,000 of them. He picked them up from the ledge and handed them to Dev. These go with his order. No, Owen said immediately. No thank you, it's $2, the man said. Not dismissive. Just plain. Let it be $2. Dev had already scanned them. The transaction was done. Owen looked at the man. The man looked back at him. Not with pity, not with the careful blankness of someone trying to avoid acknowledging what they just witnessed, but with the straightforward ease of someone who had done a small thing and considered it done. Thank you, Owen said. The words came out rougher than he intended. The man nodded once, already moving his basket forward. They made it to the parking lot before Ruby looked up at Owen and said, with great seriousness, he was nice. Yeah, Owen said. He was. Do you think he does that a lot? I don't know, Owen said. Maybe. Ruby thought about this. I want to do that when I'm a grown-up. Just pay for things for people. Owen put the bags in the trunk and didn't say anything for a moment. The rain had let up some. The parking lot was lit orange under the sodium lights. Somewhere across the lot, a cart wheeled loose and bumped gently into a curb. That's a good thing to want, he said finally. The drive home was 12 minutes. Ruby ate exactly 2 cookies in the back seat and saved the rest for tomorrow. Which was something Owen wouldn't have done at 7. He would have eaten the whole box. He wasn't sure what that said about his daughter, but it felt like something. He got her into her pajamas. He made scrambled eggs for dinner. Because they were quick and because he was running out of steam. And Ruby told him about a project at school, involving the water cycle and how her friend Zara had drawn a cloud that looked more like a sheep, and the two of them argued about whether a cloud that looked like a sheep was better or worse than a regular cloud. And Ruby took the position that it was definitely better. Because at least it was interesting. Owen did the dishes after she was asleep. He was standing at the sink when his phone buzzed on the counter. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. He'd been getting calls lately from a collections notice about an old medical bill and he didn't have the energy for it tonight. He answered anyway. Mr. Barlowe? A woman's voice. Professional but not cold. My name is Patricia Osei. I'm calling from Salish Community Partners. I'm sorry to call in the evening. I got your number from the community referral list. Is this an okay time? Owen dried his hands on the dish towel. Sure. What's this about? We're a nonprofit that partners with local businesses to support people going through financial transitions. Job training, emergency support, that sort of thing. Your name came up through a referral from Thompson Valley Family Services. I wanted to know if you'd be open to a conversation. Who referred me? Owen asked, not defensively, just confused. There was a brief pause. We receive referrals from several sources. I'm not always given a name, but what I can tell you is that one of our board members specifically flagged your situation after, I believe, a brief encounter this evening. Another pause. He didn't give me many details. He just said there was a father and a little girl in Kamloops who could use a conversation. Owen stood very still. He's on our board, Owen said. He founded it, Patricia said, about 15 years ago, after he went through his own difficult stretch. Owen sat down on the kitchen chair. He looked at the dish towel in his hands. He thought about a man in a gray flannel jacket handing $2 worth of cookies to a cashier without making it into a performance. He thought about the way the man had looked at Ruby. Like she was a full person. not a prop in someone else's situation. Okay, Owen said. What kind of conversation? The meeting happened 3 days later, in a small office above a print shop on Victoria Street. Patricia Osei was exactly as her voice suggested. Direct, organized, efficient in a way that felt generous rather than clinical. She had a folder with Owen's name on it, which was slightly alarming, but she explained quickly that the referral had included only publicly available information, and his own records from the family services intake he had completed the previous spring. What we do, she said, is match people with employment support and short-term stabilization funding, not charity. It comes with conditions. You follow through with the program, you stay engaged, you pay it forward when you're able. Some people pay it back financially when they're in a position to. People volunteer. Some people just show up for someone else the way someone showed up for them. We're flexible on the form. Who funds this? Owen asked. Grants, and honestly, a lot of it comes from the founder's personal contributions. He's not interested in credit for it, just outcomes. Owen thought about the parking lot, the rain, Ruby's careful hands on the cookie box. What would it look like? He asked. For me specifically. Patricia opened the folder. There's a trades training partnership with Thompson Rivers University. Refrigeration and HVAC certification, which, given your current work, you're already partway there. The program would cover the coursework and the Red Seal exam fees. When you complete it, you'd be a licensed journeyman, which changes your employment options significantly. How significantly? Owen asked. Right now you're making what? Somewhere around $22-23 an hour? She said it without any edge. Just information. $22.50, he said. A journeyman HVAC technician in BC makes between $35 and $45. More if you move into independent contracting. Owen was quiet for a moment. He did the math the way he always did math now, instinctively, looking for the catch, the asterisk, the moment where it stopped adding up. What's the timeline? He said. 12 months. Classes twice a week, some online components. You'd keep working. It's designed for people who can't stop working. He nodded slowly. Outside the window, he could see a little stretch of Victoria Street. A woman pushing a stroller. A couple coming out of the Thai place across the road. The ordinary Tuesday motion of a city that didn't know about any of this and wouldn't have cared much if it did. Okay, he said. Yeah, I want to do it. He didn't cry in Patricia's office. He held it together all the way to the parking lot, and then he sat in his truck for about 4 minutes and pressed the heels of his hands against his eyes. Not from sadness this time. He wasn't sure what to call what it was. Relief felt too simple. Gratitude felt too small. There is a specific kind of pain that comes from holding everything together alone for a long time. And there is a specific kind of release when you realize you don't have to. He texted his mom in Kelowna. Good news, tell you later. Then he pulled out of the lot and went to pick up Ruby from school. He didn't go looking for the man in the gray jacket. It didn't feel like that was the point. But about 3 weeks into his HVAC coursework, he was at the superstore again. Different night, better budget, only slightly, and he saw a young woman at the self-checkout, early 20s. A toddler on her hip. She was removing items from her basket and putting them back on a small ledge beside the machine. Doing it quietly, the way you do when you're hoping no one is watching. Owen watched her for a moment. He thought about a Tuesday in October, and 43 cents in a cup holder, and a man who didn't make it into a thing. He walked over. He wasn't sure exactly what to say, so he kept it simple. Hey, he said. Let me get that. She looked at him with the specific wariness of someone who has been offered help before and found a string attached. It's just groceries, he said. No big deal. She looked at him for another moment. Then she shifted the toddler to her other hip and said, Okay, thank you. He paid. They didn't exchange names or numbers. He walked out to the parking lot and loaded his bags into his truck. The October rain had come back, which in Kamloops it does, relentlessly, without apology. He sat for a second with the engine running. He felt better than he had in a long time. Not because anything was fixed. Things weren't fixed, not yet, not entirely. The apartment was still small. The certification was still 12 months away. He still woke up some nights doing the math in his head. But some things were different, and that, he was learning, was usually how it started. Not everything at once. Just one thing. And then another. And then a person in a gray flannel jacket, in a grocery store checkout line who looked at his daughter like she was worth stopping for. Ruby was in the back seat. She had a maple cookie in each hand. Dad, she said through a mouthful. Did you see the puddles? They're really big tonight. Yeah, he said. I saw them. Can we drive through one? He pulled out of the parking space. Maybe one, he said. She made a sound that was very close to a cheer, and Owen Barlowe drove home through the rain. And the one puddle turned into 3. Because some nights that's just how it goes. And because she was 7, and it cost nothing. And the world every now and then was allowed to be exactly that simple. If this story stayed with you, please like and subscribe to True Kindness, and turn on the bell so you never miss a story. Your support helps these moments reach the people who need them most.